You're listening to Unlocked, Your Career by Design with Samantha Florence, Fortune 100 executive, billion-dollar business leader, and founder of Powerhouse Code. Here, you'll discover how to build authority, attract opportunities, and lead with authentic presence. If you're ready to claim your spotlight and step into your next level, you're in the right place. Let's unlock your career by design. I want to talk about the biggest myth in corporate. Maybe it's even the biggest myth in life, honestly. The biggest myth in corporate, in business, and in life. And that is that hard work equals success. I know. That's not what we were raised to believe. And I actually talked about that in the first episode where I made the comparison that when we start school or the educational system really is focused around working hard, studying, getting the highest grade, and then advancing to the next level, the next class. And so many of us, whether it's at work, in business, or in life in general, we believe that hard work equals success because that's 18 years of conditioning ingrained into our system. But have you ever considered that if being the best was enough, wouldn't every hardworking and talented professional you know already be leading? Think about it. How many hardworking and talented professionals do you know? How many hardworking and talented professionals do you know that are not leading yet? And how many talented and hardworking professionals do you know that are leading? So it could be true in both cases, right? And how many people or professionals do you know that are leading that are not hardworking or not as talented? Point in case. No, case in point. Case in point. So that's what I'm saying. It's a myth that hard work equals success, that talent equals progression. How many people do you know that are hardworking and talented, yet are not leading and are not progressing? And maybe that's even you. And again, I'm going to ask the question, how many people do you know that are not hardworking, not as talented, but are leading or progressing? I'm just saying, hard work is not enough. And of course, like so many of us, I started my career thinking that hard work was enough. Work hard, I'll be recognized, I'll get all the gold stars and advance to the next level. Just like in school. Little did I know back then that that's not the case. And to make things more interesting, so I'm from the Caribbean, right? So I moved to Europe when I was 18 to study, get my university degree, and I stayed in Europe to pursue a career. And you can imagine if you are from a international background in a country that is not yours, you might have been told by your parents or your relatives with all the best intentions to keep your head down, fit in, because you're a minority, you're a woman or you're a person of color or you're a woman of color, double whammy, and do the work and you will get recognized and you will be rewarded. Well. There's nothing, life doesn't work that way. And the workplace doesn't work that way. And so I didn't know all of this, right? Because I am in a country that is not my own. I am first generation university graduate. So I believe that what worked at school, what worked at university would work in the workplace. And if you're listening to this podcast, I am sure that you know that it does not work that way. Anyway, so it took me around 10 years to realize that. I know, 10 years. And having to be able to deal with that. So I want you to imagine, and maybe you have been in this familiar situation and it might sound familiar, but when you are ambitious and driven because you're in a country that is not your own. So Your profession, your career is so important because it doesn't represent only your success, it represents success of your family, your country, all the people you left behind to make it in a different country. And when you are in this environment and this workplace that you believe, truly believe that hard work equals success and hard work equals recognition, that can lead to, and if that doesn't happen, that can lead to working harder and harder and harder. Because if they're not seeing me yet, if they're not recognizing me yet, that must mean that I am not working hard enough or I am not good enough. How many of you feel on a daily basis that you are not good enough? And so for me, what it meant was confusion because, excuse me, I'm the backbone of this department. Everybody is coming to me. So why am I not getting recognized? What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? It also led to frustration because what else can I do, people, to show that I am capable? And then lastly, the disbelief. The disbelief was the moment I realized, and again, it took me 10 years, the moment I realized that hard work is not enough and that the workplace, corporate, is not a meritocracy. I'm sorry, it's not. And I'm sure I'm going to get all the HR people now on my back, but it's not. And that's the moment, so the first 10 years of my career or 10 years into my career, that I realized that performance and progression are not the same thing. So while at school and the education system, the harder you work, you actually progress, you get the stickers, you get the gold stars. In the office, 9 out of the 10 times, the harder you work, you're actually building a trap for yourself because you become irreplaceable. Now, in the end, everybody is replaceable, but can you imagine if you are the backbone of your department, everybody leans on you, everybody comes to you, and you move, the house of cards is going to fall. And so when I work with the women in the community, I'm like, okay, of course, you're dedicated, you're ambitious, you want to work hard, you want to be rewarded, you want to have an impact. So let's start rewiring your mindset and change the mindset shift as to what does that actually mean. That doesn't mean that you're going to overperform and overperform and overperform on your current role, but how can we start positioning you for what you actually want and start building that bridge? So there's a lot of mindset shifts and rewiring I do with the ladies in my community to actually, so I'm not saying hard work, you should not work hard. I am just saying that for your next level, it requires a different type of work. It requires positioning. Okay? Not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. Because there's a moment, and it starts when you enter the workforce, but it's also as you progress in your career, the game changes. It just does. And you have to imagine when you enter the workplace, there are so many brilliant professionals entering the workplace at the same time as you. As you progress in your career, it's a pyramid. Most organizations have a pyramid structure. And the further along you are in the career, the more talented people there are around you, the more people that fit the job descriptions, the more people that can do the work. So what's going to make the difference then? Because it's all a sea of fantastic people. When you apply for a job interview, the recruiter gets, I wanted to say gazillion, not gazillion, hundreds of resumes. So how are you going to stand out? And so I want you to start thinking about output is not the only differentiator in your career. Output alone, deliverables alone will not get you to your next level. As a matter of fact, I can say, looking at myself on my journey and the women I work with, it actually keeps you stuck. And so when you're ready to step into your next level, when you're ready for more, when you're ready for something different, and I want to caveat because I talk a lot about promotions, getting promoted, getting paid, getting increases. But to me, a promotion is what you define as a promotion. That could be a new job in a new company. That could be an actual promotion, therefore, climbing the ladder. It could also be a high profile project that you didn't think was possible or a lateral move. So the powerhouse way I always say is a promotion is the next role that you want that you at this moment don't seem to think that it's possible for you because you have been feeling stuck for this long time. Okay, so back to what's really important. It's not only about the output, it's not only about deliverables, and it's definitely not only about working hard. So there's two things I want to touch upon here. Number one is, what is your unique talent DNA? What makes you different and what makes you unique? So you can imagine if you are, let's say, I'm thinking of a profession. If you are a lawyer, right, or a legal counsel, all your coworkers have studied law. All of them have the same experience. They have the same skill sets. But what makes you unique? Maybe you're a people person and you can build bridges between legal jargon and the business side of the organization. Or maybe you are very good in processes and you can make any process more efficient. So how can you bring that into the mix instead of focusing only on the skill set, your competencies, and the job description? How can you unlock your talent DNA to position yourself as the obvious choice for what you actually want? And so unlocking your talent DNA is a huge element of Elevate You, my signature program. And it's not only about skills and competencies like the hardcore, professional, corporate, you know, mambo jambo. It's actually also, I go into human design. How are you designed? What is your energy giver? How do you make decisions? How do you contribute to the team with your human design type? So I focus a lot on what makes you unique as a person. And then how can you use that and leverage that so you can position yourself as this is my unique differentiator. And this is why I bring so much more than only what you ask for in a job description. So that's number one. Number two thing I focus on is authentic branding. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this podcast, I want you to know that at this very moment, 70% of female professionals do not harness personal branding, authentic personal branding. 70%. That is 7 out of every 10 ladies do not use authentic branding. I know it's crazy because the research shows, and I'm talking McKinsey, I'm talking Harvard Business Review, I am talking renowned and reputable organizations show that over 75% of executives and over 80% of female CEOs indicate that authentic branding or personal branding is the number one differentiator in getting you to advance in your career. That's it. Easy peasy. Simple. Authentic branding and unlocking your talent DNA. It's very simple, right? It's not like you need to you need to study for an MBA or you need to study for a PhD because again, that's what most women do. Because when we feel that we're not advancing and you start thinking something is missing because I work harder and more harder, I'm not getting rewarded, I'm not getting recognized, I'm not progressing. Therefore, it must be me. I must be the one that is not good enough. It's probably me that don't have the competencies yet. And what do we do as women? We go in and we go for another degree. and we go for another course and we pay tens of thousands of dollars for an MBA, or we go for a PhD. Whereas John Doe on the other side, that doesn't have the talent, that is not as qualified, that doesn't have the degrees, just shoof, climbs the ladder and passes you by. While you are studying your butt off for the MBA or PhD. Anyway, so in essence, it's really simple. It's unlocking your talent DNA and owning it as if there's no tomorrow. And on the other hand, it's harnessing authentic branding, which 70% of women don't do, but 75 to 80% of executives say it's essential, like non-negotiable to get you to the next level. And that's what I do with my ladies and Elevate You, my community at Powerhouse Code. So anyway, why is this important? Why is it important to, number one, unlock your talent DNA, and number two, harness personal branding or authentic branding in the Powerhouse way? Because leaders need you to articulate and communicate your value. How do you help the organization forward? How do you help your team forward? And so, again, I want to go back to the mindset shift that is needed here. Working harder does not necessarily mean that you're moving the organization forward, that you're moving the team forward. Okay, so once you start reframing and attaching a different meaning to working harder versus unlocking your talent DNA and harnessing authentic branding, the world is your oyster. And I'm really excited to get the Powerhouse professionals on the podcast because they are going to share the story. The ladies who were part of Elevate You, my signature offer, what a career was like before joining Elevate You and what it was like after Elevate You. So before unlocking the talent DNA and harnessing authentic branding, and after, it's like miles apart. In 90 days, so much can change. So I'm really excited for when I get those stories out. Okay, so you might be thinking, if it's not hard work, if it's not a meritocracy, like what is actually the unlock here? What are the unwritten rules and what is the code I keep talking about, the Powerhouse Code? And it's actually, so I already say, it's unlocking your talent DNA. Number one, being extremely clear on what you bring to the table. What are your differentiators? Are you from a different country? Fantastic. Let's start using that. Do you speak multiple languages? Amazing. Let's start using that. So don't limit yourself to the job description, to your professional experience, where you've worked, what you've done. No, those are deliverables. That's outputs. So I want you to go beyond those things. Who are you? Who are you as a person? What do you bring to the team? What do you bring to the organization that is not necessarily on your resume, but can completely change the game for your team or your organization? So that's number one. Number two, authentic branding, focused on, obviously, your personal brand. Now, this is one I want to pause on because so many ladies, I host masterclasses from time to time. And the one thing I hear is, I don't even know what my brand is. Well, let me tell you, you have brands. So if you're not intentionally building your brand, someone else is doing it for you. So that's focus area number one. Focus area number two is, how do you show up? So your presence, how are you perceived? How do people experience you in rooms and meetings? Because your presence speaks before you do. And then number three is, how do you network like a pro? Now, I'm an introvert myself. I'm a proud introvert, and I truly believe that introversion is my superpower. I work with a lot of ladies who are also introverts. I work with extroverts as well, but I work on the topic of networking and authentic branding with introverts because they feel like, oh my God, the word networking is cringe. They cringe at a word networking. And so I help them see how you can authentically connect with the key people who can make a difference for you. Okay, so those are, let's say, the three pillars on authentic branding. And I'm not going to go through all of them today, obviously, because then, you know, I have many other episodes for you. But that's what I focus on with my ladies in the community, and also what I have seen at my level and in my own career that really makes the difference. So I already shared with you, I will be having the ladies on the podcast. I cannot wait. That is the most amazing part of this podcast, to hear the real stories. So I have clients who have gotten promotions after being 2 months in a program. I have clients who have been offered 3 jobs at the same time because of the progress they made. I have clients who moved to their dream country, something they never thought was possible, got a company to sponsor their visa in a country where it's very unusual. And it all goes back to unlocking your talent DNA and owning it like there's no tomorrow. And then secondly, harnessing authentic branding, because by doing so, you're automatically in the 30% who does it. Like seriously, 70% of ladies who do not harness it. So imagine, once you do elevate you or start focusing on that, you're automatically in the 30%. And then I have a few other tactics up my sleeve that puts you in the 10% edge. So I am so excited because I have so many good things. And I want to emphasize, this podcast is not going to be a how-to, tips and tricks. Like, no, there's enough of that out there. You can Google it, you can ChatGPT it. This podcast is going to be about highlighting stories of executives, of industry leaders, mindset shifts, which I am huge on, right? And also sharing the client stories, because that's what really shows you what's possible for you when you start thinking differently and rewiring your mind and attaching different meaning to different things. And I want to take it back to my example. You know how hard it is when you have been conditioned 18 years in the educational system and then another 10 years in corporate, that hard work will bring you success, that your glowing performance review will get you promoted, that your manager has your back. That's a lot of stories to unlearn. So I always say it's not about learning something new, which is why I want to emphasize, if you're here thinking you're going to get tips and tricks, how-tos, etc., then you can go elsewhere for that. Yes, I shared in the last episode that I am going to share tools and frameworks, but I want you to think about, or I want you to consider, what would change for you once you start shifting your mindset and rewiring your minds and unlearning behavior that is keeping you stuck. Many people underestimate that. So this podcast is really focused also on unlearning, mindset shifts, and rewiring your minds. Okay? Because I want to help you replace old beliefs with new empowering systems. Okay. So let's get honest. Where in your career have you been overworking and under-recognized? And what if you shifted that same energy into being intentional about how you show up? Because I want to bring it back. I don't remember if it was this episode or the last episode where I talk about so many people focus on external factors. Why did my colleague get promoted? Why is my manager doesn't have my back? Well, there's actually a reorganization and there are no open position. X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Shifting, that's about putting your control and your power in somebody else's hands. What would change for you when you start seeing a path that you can actually take back your greatness and take back your control and start to craft your career and design your career regardless what's going on the outside? because that's when the shifts really start to happen. And I want to go back to some of my clients that come to me in the middle of a reorganization. There are no open positions. People were let go. Sam, I don't know if now's the right time because there are no open positions. I just don't see how it's possible for me. I'd rather start where there are open positions. Let me tell you, if you wait until there's an open position, I can guarantee you, you are going to be late. And that's it. You're going to be late. So the question is not when is the right time, or is there an open position, or is there my next level role? No, the question is, do you make a decision that you want a different outcome for your career? Do you make the decision that you want a different outcome for your career, regardless of what's happening outside of you? Regardless whether there's an open position or not, regardless whether there's a reorganization or not, regardless whether there's a job posting or not. Do you want a different outcome, yes or no? Simple. Because life is decisions. Life is not choices. Life is not options. Yes, life is a decision. So it starts with, what is the decision that you are taking today for your career? Number one. Number two is, how committed are you? Are you willing to do what it takes? And when the answer is yes and yes, yes, I take the decision that I want a different outcome. And yes, I am committed to doing what it takes. I want you to think about, what will that give you? What is the ultimate drive? Okay, ladies and fearless professionals, that is all I had for today. I'm so excited to see you in episode 3, where I break down the 3 biggest career killers. See you on the next side. You have been listening to Unlocked Your Career by Design with Samantha Flores. If today's episode sparked something, here's your next step. Follow the show and leave a 5-star review. That's how we reach more ambitious women ready to break barriers. And if you know a colleague or friend who needs this, share it with them, because lifting one woman lifts us all. Until next week, keep owning your spotlights.